Amnesia Justine is a bit of DLC and a lovely DLC it be, where I'm running for my life cause I'm weak as shit, a psychotic woman's testing me. I wake up in a cell, a phonograph is near. I turn the crank and listen close to all the words I hear. Justine says welcome to her halls of perturbation, but I'd rather be at home for some beer and mess. I run into the halls, a ladder for my troubles. I search the cells just up ahead and then my problem doubles. A shambling man comes in, he wants to see me dead. I pull a lever and oops, I killed the dude myself instead. Oh, Amnesia Justine is a bit of DLC and a lovely DLC it be, where I'm running for my life cause I'm weak as shit, a psychotic woman's testing me. The notes I find around, I read them there and then. It seems Justine is prone to abusing horny men. Alois and Basile and musician Mallow. These suitors have been blinded and their impulses are shallow. I get to the library, I find a slide projector, and in the rooms off the main hall I am a slide collector. I try to solve the riddle, put 2 slides in the wall, oops I killed him too and I'm just not good at this at all. Oh, Amnesia Justine is a bit of DLC and a lovely DLC it be, where I'm running for my life cause I'm dumb as shit, a psychotic woman's testing me. More notes are quickly found. Justine's father is a jerk. He's less focused on his kid than he has been on his work. So Justine grabs a rock, she bashes in his head, and cracks a smile looking at her poor old father dead. I'm chased through flooded halls, more screaming from behind. A prisoner in a cell I pass is asking if I'm mine. Could I stop and help while I'm running from this guy? But in my panic I forget to help and leave him there to die. Oh, Amnesia Justine is a bit of DLC and a lovely DLC it be, where I'm running for my life and I'm scared as shit, a psychotic woman's testing me. In the final room, I arrive. I feel I've made it, out alive, as the walls start closing in to make me taller and deathly thin. I pass out from utter shock, but it was a test. Wake up, knock knock. I'd planned everything I had just seen. Oh fuck, I am Justine. Oh, well, Amnesia Justine was a bit of DLC, and a lovely DLC it be, where I'm running for my life cause I'm crazy as shit. The psychotic woman was just me. Well, now that we have the basic story taken care of, and the chorus will no doubt be stuck in your head for about a week, we can jump into a bit more detail. Lore-wise, Amnesia Justine doesn't really have any strong connection to the events of any of the other Amnesia titles other than a couple auxiliary connections to Dark Descent found in a couple notes. The DLC was originally released as part of an alternate reality game called Potato Sack, leading up to the release of Portal 2, which is why the gameplay is essentially just a series of short test chambers, so to speak. Even the body hanging from the ceiling in the final room, chained up with no arms, could be seen as an Amnesia stylized homage to GLaDOS from Portal. Lastly, there is a minor Easter egg ending if you find a hidden note behind a book on a bookshelf. The lines that are delivered as Justine climbs the stairs from the basement ends with her wanting the world to know that she's
still alive.
As for the connection to Dark Descent, if you recall, Daniel was sent home from Algeria by his colleague, Professor Herbert, after getting trapped in the tomb and finding his orb. A short time later, he received notice that Herbert had also gone missing, as well as the majority of the expedition crew. Daniel then broke into Herbert's office at the university, took his address book, and began sending letters inquiring about what happened when he ultimately gets a response from Alexander of Brennenburg. One of the letters he sent out was also to Justine's father. It seems Professor Herbert was close friends with this man. We find some correspondence between them stating that before heading out to Algeria, Professor Herbert sent a letter to Justine's father, an eminent French psychologist named Monsieur Flaubel, requesting a professional character reference that would allow him permission to commence his expedition in Algeria. Monsieur Flaubel writes back informing that the reference was given and that everything is in order. Daniel's letter to him, after Herbert had already gone missing, detailed that he suspected Herbert knew more about what went wrong than he was letting on, and hoping that even one of his acquaintances might have insight into this information. We don't, however, find a response to this request. Justine herself is clearly mentally unwell, and her father has been doing research on her psyche in their home, hoping to find a way to help her and others like her. However, it's not going well. His relationship with Justine sours, and he steps away from his research to try and rebuild things with her, which doesn't work, and she kills him with a decorative soapstone rock. Justine then also becomes obsessed with doing psychiatric testing, but in her case, not to help people, just to torture them for her own amusement. Fast forward into the future, and it seems that Justine has several suitors that she is pursuing, playing them all off one another and treating none of them well. We find a note that one of the suitors, Mallow, was a famous musician, and during a concert performance he seemed drunk or ill on stage, and Justine and the 2 other suitors were seen carrying Mallow off stage through the booing of the crowd. It is very likely that Justine simply drugged him to see what would happen as his reputation fell apart for the world to see. Eventually, they are all reduced to shambling husks that she has either physically or chemically blinded. We even find a phonograph wax cylinder with audio of her blinding one of the suitors directly, Basile, after she asks him to repeat the phrase,
"Your beauty is blinding. Ah, my eyes!" Lovely girl.
These 3 suitors are the monsters that are chasing you through the testing chambers. The phonograph at the very beginning mentions that they can all be saved, but this doesn't refer to the 3 suitors. Instead, the father of one of the suitors has sent a trio of investigators to Justine's home to evaluate her poor mental state. He wants her arrested as payback for destroying the promising life his son, Alois, once had ahead of him. These 3 men, a police officer, a priest, and a psychologist, all walk into a bar, and they're all captured and detained by Justine, and then she set up these test chambers as a new test to evaluate her own psyche, to see if she actually enjoys killing or just does it impulsively. Justine set up the various puzzles to free the men or not, as well as the guiding phonographs we see sitting around, and finally locks herself in the opening cell before drinking an amnesia potion so that she could perform the self-administered test with a fully blank slate. This game doesn't really have alternate endings per se, but you can slightly change the dialogue you hear based on how many of the 3 investigators you spare, and whether you find the specific hidden note page in the library. Rescuing some or all of the investigators will allow them to plead with you through the door in the final room to let them out, but regardless of how many you save, you always lock the door behind you anyway. Saving none of them makes the voices through the door become the suitors that you've been torturing, wanting to kill you. For the original ending, Clarice, the maid upstairs, asks you if she heard voices coming from downstairs, which Justine playfully denies. If you find the hidden note, however, Justine instead asks Clarice to mail the note as a letter, which is where she then comments that she simply wants them to know that she's still alive. I'm making a note here, Hugh says. You seal the basement door behind you as Clarice tells you that some new guests are arriving shortly, likely the next set of victims for more of Justine's psychotic tests. Thanks so much for watching. Please consider subscribing if you're interested in checking out more content from me. I very much appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you all in the next video, but until then, my friends, as always, be legendary.